So whether you're driving a Jeep, a Toyota, a Ford Bronco, doesn't matter. There is one modification that will make your off-road experience so much nicer. Today, we are going to talk about that one little piece, and we're going to put it on a Toyota Tundra. So stick around. I think you're really going to enjoy this. Welcome back to the channel, folks. So as I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, there is one modification, regardless of the type of off-road vehicle you're using, that can make your life so much more comfortable off-road. So I had pointed it out, but let's talk about it. These are sway bar disconnects. Now, they may look different for than you guys with the Jeeps out there. That's because today we're working on a Toyota from a company called Red Runner Designs. They actually make these for the front end of the older Toyota Tundras, Toyota Tacomas. They also make them for the Ford Broncos, Raptors, and even some of your full-size trucks that are out there. So each design is going to be a little different. Now, the purpose of putting this on your truck is to allow your front suspension to move independently from each other on the right side and the left side, ultimately making the ride experience inside the cab a lot more comfortable. And it also helps to, believe it or not, keep the vehicle a lot more stable off-road. So, although we have had videos in the past on this channel, and I know a lot of you Jeep guys are very familiar with this, I'm putting it on the Wranglers and the Gladiators. Putting this on an independent suspension on a Toyota is actually going to be something brand new for us today, so I'm actually really excited to get these on here. So first things first, we need to get the front end of this Tundra up in the air. We need to get the factory end links off and get these guys installed. They tried to design it so it would be as close to the factory design that's on there so it works the way that it's supposed to. So the factory front end links on this particular Toyota Tundra are basically just like this. Here is the disconnects, and you can see that they look pretty much the same and they're about the same size. So we're not modifying how something looks, we're simply modifying its functionality. Now the difference is this guy here, when the suspension cycles up and down, that's it. That's what you get. Whereas with this, by pulling the pin, you can actually separate them, move this out of the way, and make it so that when this wheel goes up and down, not only is it going to be free floating, not connected to the wheel on the other side, but it's going to give you a lot more dependence on the dampening for the actual suspension, making a much more comfortable off-road ride.
5 minutes later.
What you doing, Chris?
Well, putting some new sway bar end links in my truck.
So, while you're doing that, why don't you tell us a little bit about your truck?
It's a 2001 Tundra, four-wheel drive V8, and I've got, let's see, I don't know, 360, almost somewhere around 370,000 miles on it. Slightly modified. It's got a 2.5-inch lift in the front and 3-inch lift in the rear with custom springs, rebent springs from a company that builds heavy-duty truck springs back home in Maine, so that I could carry an extra 1,500 pounds overstocked. So I guess those are some of the details about it.
Nice. So, what made you decide, after all these miles and all this time, to replace the end links on this thing now?
Well, I had a really good conversation with a friend of ours at an Overland Expo, and wanted to try out some quick disconnects.
So what are you hoping is going to change as far as ride quality?
Mostly it's off-road. I want a little more flex out of the front end, because wherever the front wheels land is how the truck tips. And if I can get this to be a little bit looser, then the truck might not tip as much when the suspension is cycling more for off-road.
Fair enough. Well, I'm going to let you finish getting those installed so we can get this thing out on the trail and actually test it out.
I like it. So just something to keep in mind as you're putting in your new end links is you want to clock the pins as you're tightening them down so that they're in an easy way to pull out for when you need to disconnect them. Like this one, I tightened it down in this position. I'm going to have to loosen it up and reclock that so I can pull it out this way. So just something to keep in mind as you're installing these.
So how do we disconnect these, Chris?
All right, we got two pins. We got a big one on the top. We got a little one on the bottom. And then once that's loose, push that off. Ugh, man, it's tight.
It's brand new, yeah.
And then pop that down, and then we're disconnected. And then, sorry. And then just, I don't know if this thing will move at all. Yeah, it moves a tiny bit. So off-road, just kind of push that up a little bit.
Nice.
All right, guys. So my microphone died. I apologize. Forgot to charge it the other night. But we got the sway bar end links installed on the Toyota Tundra. Now we get to take it out to the desert, and we're going to show you the difference in behavior with them connected and with them out connected. So come on. Let's run out to the desert real quick. So, this is your truck. You've driven it for, what, 350,000 miles with the front end disconnected. Have you noticed a difference already?
Yeah, it takes these washboards quite a bit better. Like, it's smoother.
A lot more comfortable.
Yeah, I've been doing about 10 miles, 15 miles an hour faster than I was the first time out here because it felt stiff and you felt, you're hitting every bump, pretty hard. So I usually keep my speed down. Now, we don't have tires aired down at this time either. So that's on purpose so that we can test how the suspension's reacting to the terrain on the tires.
I remember the first time I disconnected the front end on a Jeep and just felt the difference in how it was. But I wasn't sure if using an IFS suspension system, if it would be kind of that same drastic difference. But this is actually surprisingly more comfortable.
Yeah, it's definitely noticeable. Of course, you're never going to get the same flex out of an IFS that you're going to get with a solid axle, but it's definitely a marked improvement.
How did that feel coming down over those little wallops on the two setups?
Second time, definitely felt quite a bit of difference. Granted, my suspension setup doesn't have a lot of up and down travel differences, but even if you have 1.5 inches or 2 inches of difference from one side to the other without it being connected by the sway bar, I can definitely notice a difference on the way it took those lollies or whatever you call them.
So basically, did it feel like you had more or less control?
A little more control. What I am more interested in is kind of how, which way the hood is, level, as opposed to being more twisted up. And, the more the truck can maintain a balance between the rear end and the front end and kind of find that middle road instead of just stuck with whatever the front end is at, that feels a lot better.
Yeah, I wasn't in the truck because I was the one filming it, but I can tell you it definitely looked like the truck stayed a lot level. We're going to compare them side by side from the before and after now, just so that you can see what the difference is, and you tell me if it looks like there is a difference or not. So I got to tell you, that was actually far more comfortable than I was expecting, being is that I've spent a lot of time in that Tundra with Chris as well. So awesome product, not that expensive. You should give these guys a call. I'm going to put a link in the description down below this video. If you have an off-road vehicle, four-wheel drive of any kind, and at this point, it's not just exclusive to the Jeep market, and you want that off-road ride comfort and a lot more stability, definitely consider a way to disconnect your sway bar from the front end of your suspension. So in the meantime, we got to get on to a couple of other projects here in the shop. So I'm going to let you go. If you have any questions whatsoever, don't be afraid to put it in the comments down below the video. Once again, my name is Josh. This is J4B, and we will see you next time.